Hey Katie, how are you?
Hey, great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So this is going to be very nerdy because I am not only a big Marvel nerd, I'm a big Star Wars nerd. So your career has made me very happy.
Nice and nerdy.
But you have joined the legion of great actors who have played two different roles in Marvel movies or the Marvel universe as it was. And so when you are joining something like Ant-Man and the Wasp after having done Agents of Shield with different character, did you ever have kind of like that pause of like, do I want to go into a different Marvel character? Or you just like, yeah, I'll do any Marvel thing they throw my way.
Yeah, it was pure excitement. I had my role in Agents of Shield. I it was so small that I just kind of like I was I don't want to say bummed because I was grateful for it, but I was like, man, I really hope that I really do get to kind of come back and kick some butt because I really just wanted to be a cool action character. And so when this role came along, I was super excited. It was a no-brainer.
And you do, which I think is kind of has been a trend of everything I've seen you in, is that you're just kicking ass and all of it. And I really do love kind of the quantum realm team in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. I think they're so much fun. I love David Dasmachina's the whole deal with the holes. It's crazy, but then it's like paired with like Jentorra being like an actual badass and like taking people out. And I see on your Instagram how strong you actually are and like the work you put in to be this badass that we get to see. What anyone was an inspiration for you to like take on that level of like, for lack of a better way of explaining it, badassery in roles and being kind of like we always know like, oh, if Katy O'Brien's in it, there's gonna be some badass moment where she's taking some dude out.
Um, I think there are a lot of really cool martial artists out there that I've adored throughout the years, but um, I mean, even as far back as like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Michelle Yeoh is just like it's a woman that I saw on screen that I knew legitimately
Mhm.
was doing a lot of the movement. I was like, okay, she looks like a fighter. She knows what she's doing. And oftentimes you can tell when someone doesn't. So seeing her on screen, it was like this big like moment. And then to get to really see like uh as Hollywood has grown, her get to take on some phenomenal roles, and then her latest it's this Academy Award. It was just like blown away. I kind of cried a little. It's fine. It's whatever.
So did I. I
Uh,
actually accidentally in my Kiwi Kwan shirt. So like
oh,
I fully understand.
yeah, we cried for him as well. And then also, I mean, growing up, like, and this might sound silly because she's in this movie, but I dressed up like Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. I mean, that
I
was like
love
my
that.
go-to for a while. And yeah, I mean, she's like peak peak badassery, and of course, Xena, Warrior Princess. I was like a huge fan when I was a kid, and kind of always wanted to play that character. So when Jentorra came around, it's pretty much scratched that itch for me.
And I think Jentorra falls into like the two characters that most recently people have connected with you on are two characters who like on a surface level are strong women, but then have like so many deeper like threads throughout their characters. And Notoria, especially like, yes, on the surface, she's just a badass warrior, but she clearly has been through some things. She's seen what Kang can do, and she has kind of the like all these layers to her. Is that something that draws you to characters that they're not just like, oh yeah, badass who takes someone out, that they also have all of these other things that you get to kind of play with?
Yeah, I think that's really important to me. Because otherwise I think it's really boring. Like no one out there is just a badass and then there's nothing to them.
Mm-hmm.
If that is the case, then yeah, they're just really boring. But I just don't believe that that's ever the case. Like, um, even if it is, the complete opposite, maybe they're not compassionate anymore because whatever world they've been in has damaged them so much. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I definitely, you want to bring humanity to whatever you're doing, even if it is, people can criticize Marvel for being like two dimensional or whatever they want, but you can always bring that three-dimensional character out if you want.
And I think that's why the defenders, like myself of Marvel, have such kind of a connection to certain characters. Because like on paper, one of my favorite characters in all of Marvel is Rocket Raccoon, which people are like, it's a raccoon. I was like, yeah, raccoon who's been tortured and turned into a weapon, who struggles with his emotions. He's very fascinating if you take out the like talking raccoon bit.
Yeah.
But and that's a great point. I think there's some people dismiss things that work really well in Marvel, and I think a character like Jentorra works really well because you can see kind of her pain and struggle. Would you come back, and if you could, what story would you want to tell with Jentorra as a character? Because we only got to see her in the quantum realm.
Yeah, I would love to. I would always be happy to be Jentorra. The I think almost kind of like a prequel would be really interesting to kind of figure out
Mm-hmm.
kind of where they kind of how they started and wound up together. And but even like, what's going on now. At the same time, I know that they're setting up right now for absolute chaos. I mean, skipping timelines is one of the most I don't know, ambitious and like also confusing and wild rides that you can do, because you pretty much, there's no limits. Like, what can you do? What can't you do? So yeah, I mean, I would be intrigued to see how she could fit into that, just because the quantum realm is kind of like removed from that somehow. So maybe we'll just have a giant Kang jail and all the Kangs will just be banished to the quantum realm in eternal jail. I don't know.
And then Jentorra will control it and be like, none of you are ever getting out of here. I hate all of you. But with, like I said, you are in two huge nerdy properties. I like have not taken a sip of my coffee this entire interview because it is unintentionally my baby Yoda mug. And I've just been like, I can't drink this mug.
Oh, that's
But
no.
I have a lot of things on this desk and I'm like, don't touch any of them.
Do it.
But like he's right here on accident.
Oh, yeah.
It was from my podcast and I just had left him here and then was like, oh shit, he's just sitting next to me. But with you have done some great nerdy things. You talked about being inspired by a lot of nerdy badasses. What is one thing as an actor that you want to do that you haven't touched yet, whether it be a nerdy property or like a specific kind of character you kind of want to tackle?
I would love, and these are complete opposite sides of things, but I would love to do a rom-com, specifically with
Okay.
David, because he's been complaining about not being in a rom-com, and I just
I
want
wrote a
to,
whole piece about that. He
yeah,
should be in a rom-com.
yeah, it would be amazing. And then I would love to do something like American Psycho, like a really prominent, uh, just completely unhinged character.
You do not understand, and I'm sure people watching this understand my face. That is my favorite thing in this world is American Psycho. So anything about American Psycho, I'm like, yeah, do it.
Yeah,
Bring me more Patrick Bateman things, and I
it's
think it'd
just
be
so
great.
brilliant. It's so brilliant.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a perfect satire, but even if Bret Easton Ellis doesn't know that. But thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it. I do love all the characters you've been giving us. I'm obsessed with all of them. Every time you show up, I'm like, hell yeah, she's here. This is great.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. And I can't wait for the audiences who haven't seen Quantumania to get to see it when it gets released.
No, no.
It's exciting. But thank you.